y'all, it's Missniecytv, and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 9, Episode 10. The episode picks up at the bank, and Maurice and Sabrina are in Sabrina's office, and Maurice is trying to help her get on this dating app. Sabrina's like, it's too much. I need 3 referrals and all this other stuff. Maurice is like, I told you it was a lead. Maurice is tired of Sabrina's complaining, and so am I, so he takes her phone and he finishes the profile. He's like, you like doctors, right? Sabrina's like, yeah. So he finishes the profile. He shows her this doctor that she might like. She agrees to it. He takes the phone and he sets up the date. So on our lunch break, she's supposed to meet up with this man, and this is new for Sabrina because she's never done something like this before. And Maurice is like, you ain't gotta be scared. Alright, Danny, she's over to her cousin out, Antonia, and she's like, Tony, how you gonna allow somebody in my house that you don't even know? And Rock, why are you even playing the game with somebody that you... Then she tells Tony that he has all the time in the world to buy different types of food, but he can't clean her house. Tony's like, wait a minute, this will only be a 5-minute cleanup, and Rock is gonna help me too. Rock is like, I can't do that because I actually have a date. In the middle of Danny's rant about Tony not cleaning her house and just playing the game all day, she picks up her piece of mail, and it turns out to be her settlement that she was waiting for. So she runs out of her house all excited, and she immediately calls Sabrina and she lets her know that she got the money. And Danny's like, I don't even know what to do with all this money, so that's why I'm calling you. Sabrina's like, well, I can help you after my lunch break because I'm going on a date. Danny's like, okay, I see you out there midday on age. Sabrina's like, yeah, I guess so. So they both get off the phone and Danny goes to work. Over at the law firm, Andy is doing some work and Fatima comes in to talk to her, and Andy's like, I was just looking for you. Andy's like, did you go get those reports for me? Fatima's like, actually I didn't, but I'll go get them now. Andy's like, you know you still work for me, right? You're a paralegal, and we gotta get on this case because this is very important. And this is very important to black women. And these reports will definitely help. Andy, I understand that you're trying to get justice for Karen, and this case is very important to you, but do you remember that Karen said that she doesn't want this type of justice because nothing will bring her baby back? Over at Richard's juice bar, we see Zach come in so he could have his meeting with Chaz, and he ends up talking to Rich for a second, and Rich is like, I'm sorry for how everything went down. How you doing? Zach is like, I'm good as I can be. Zach is like, I'm actually here to meet somebody, and that's when Chaz walks in, and Rich starts fangirling, like, I'm such a big fan, Anything you want is on the house. Chaz picks the type of smoothie he wants, and then he goes to talk to Zach, but Zach is not being receptive to Chaz at all, because Zach already has interior motives. He's not really here for that meeting, he just wants to confront Chaz about Fatima. This is like, Fatima referred me to you because she says that you're good in real estate, and I really want to open this restaurant, and it's going to be a sports restaurant with a basketball court in the back. Chaz is sitting here listing all his details and all his plans for this restaurant and the type of food and drinks that he's going to have, and Zach is not saying one word. He's just being like, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. You need to do it this way. Chaz is like, well, I know restaurants fail sometimes in the first year. Zach is like, I see you did all your research. Chaz is like, yeah, I'm very thorough when it comes to money and business. Zach is like, I see. Then Chaz somehow mentions Fatima again. And you know the mention of Fatima is going to tick Zach off because he's already mad at her. Plus, he doesn't like the fact that Chaz is sending her gifts. Zach is like, it's not very good for your health to be sending other niggas women gifts. Chaz is like, oh, so you talking about the purse that I gave Fatima? Zach is like, yeah. Chaz is like, so I guess you don't know about the other gifts either. Zach is like, what? Chaz starts feeling himself a little bit, and he's like, I guess you're too worried about me that you're not taking care of home, and you're mad that I'm showing your girl more attention than you are. Zach is like, what? Then they have this little roasting session, and at least is Zach throwing the drink on Chaz. Rich has to come de-escalate the situation. In this situation, Rich actually defended Zach. Am I mad at Zach for how he handled the situation and he should have kept it professional? Of course I am, but did Chaz have to go that far? No, he didn't. Zach really lost out on good money and a good business opportunity, all because he was in his feelings about materialistic things. But also, I understand that it's a respect thing. Over at Karen's salon, Karen walks into the salon and she sees the salon and what she thinks is disarray, but I think it's a lot more business than she had when she was running it. So Pam starts to fill her in on everything that's going on with the salon, how there's a double booking issue because the system is down, how there's no conditioner, and how one of the employees got into it with a cut. Karen is like, this is the only thing I got right, and it doesn't even feel like I'm getting this right anymore. Pam is like, what are you talking about? Pam is like, you're one of the most hard-working women that I know. Karen's like, I know, but I'm starting to feel like I'm failing at it. Karen walks out, and she's like, I can't do this. So some time passes, and she goes home, and she starts telling Miss Lisa everything that's going on at the salon. Of course, Miss Lisa doesn't really like Pam like that. She just tolerates her. So they start talking about that. Then Karen starts hearing the baby, and she's like, I'm ready to hold the baby now. But Karen does finally call Faith by her name and not just the baby. I'm so glad. Over at Sabrina's, we see her finally trying to get ready for a date. She's giving herself a pep talk like, I can do this. I've never done this before. But she gives herself the pep talk. That's when she hears a knock on the door, and it's Dr. Rock. Dr. Rock turns out to be Danny's cousin, which we all knew. And Dr. Rock cleans up very nice. I almost didn't recognize. But I wonder how Sabrina's going to feel when she finds out that he's a jailbird and he don't got no place to stay. Dr. Rock tells Sabrina to call him Jamal, and Sabrina starts asking about this man's family and his last name, and Jamal is like, I know you didn't call me over here for that. Jamal is like, it looks like you're very nervous, but that doesn't seem to be like what you said on your profile. Jamal's like, you don't have to be scared, I don't bite. And then they end up kissing, and then it leads to one thing to another. They get down to a business. They both talk about how good the sex was and how they both have to go back to work. He has to go back to an office. I'm like, what office? Why are you sitting there lying to this girl? But Sabrina, you should have caught on to the lie when he didn't know where his own office was located. He had to think about it, and that's when he said Midtown. Sabrina thought that this man worked at a hospital. He's like, no, I don't work at the hospital. I have my own office. Back over at the law firm, we have Andy coming to ask Fatima, did she get the reports? And Fatima, again, forgot because she's been swamped with everything else with the basketball players. Andy has to remind her that she's only a paralegal and that she still has work to do for Andy and how important those reports and statements are to the case. Fatima's like, I understand, I'll get them right to you. That's when Hayden comes in and he starts his mess. He's like, can you put this in Jalen's file? He starts rubbing it in Andy's face that him and Fatima are working together. Hayden asks Fatima, can you use some of the flowers that are in the office because he has a date? I think he only did that to see the look on Andy's. Once Hayden leaves, Andy and Fatima have a conversation, and Andy has to reiterate that those reports are important to the case. And she has an nerve to ask Fatima, does she work for Hayden or does am I the only one that remembers that Andy told her that it was okay for her to go check out those basketball players and work with them? And just to see her on everything that's going on. Some time passes and Fatima finally gets the reports to Andy, but it turns out that those reports are wrong and Andy needed reports for 6 months and Fatima only gave her reports that go back to 2 months. And there's 3 reports missing. Fatima's like, I truly don't understand how that happened, but I will try my best to fix it. Andy's like, you don't have to worry about it because you've been slacking today anyway. You need to step it up. Fatima's like, step it up. And if you're talking about my dedication to this law firm, we need to have a conversation. And I'm like, this was the part I was waiting for Fatima to tell Andy off, but that never happened. To be honest, I need to know why Fatima was slacking like that too. Fatima has never done that. I understand that she has pregnancy brain and everything, but Fatima's always on top of her job. Back over in Andy's office, as she's looking at the reports that Fatima gave her, she gets a call from Nurse Sanders saying that Dr. Cruz is worse than we think that he is. He moved from Alabama and changed his name because he had a class action lawsuit there, and there was many people that died under his care. So my theory was correct when I said this in a couple of my videos where I said he probably moved to Atlanta from a different state and changed his name so they wouldn't find all the cases that he has on him. Nurse Sanders said that Dr. Cruz likes to disappear when he feels heat coming his way, so I want to know how Andy's going to handle this. I hope Andy really knows what she's doing so that she doesn't get herself in trouble nor the law firm in trouble, because this could end up being bad on both. Back over at the bank, Maurice is talking to Paige, and Paige is like, we've reached a certain point in our friendship that I want to give you something. Maurice is like, what? And I didn't even know we reached that stage. She's like, I was talking to Pink Kesha, and she told me to give you this. So she gives Maurice a peacock pen. If y'all don't know who Pink Kesha is, it's Paige's favorite pen that she almost fought Maurice for. Maurice tells Paige about how they were gossiping to Molly in the break room, and that's when Sabrina comes out and she looks all chipper, and they're both like, what's going on with her? She must have gossiped. Maurice is like, yeah, she did. She went on that date with that dog. They go into Sabrina's office and they have a conversation about how Sabrina's date went. She was like, that was so good. I really needed that. He really did me in. I hope to see him again. Maurice is like, I want to know every detail. Don't leave nothing out. And then Sabrina goes into everything that happened and what moves he did and all this other stuff. And how he gave her a souvenir and how it was a picture of himself. And you know Maurice had to say something smart about it. That's when Danny comes in and they start talking about how her date went and how he's a doctor and how she got a souvenir from the doctor and how it was a picture of himself. She shows Danny the picture and I'm like, Sabrina, little do you know you're showing Danny her cousin. All I'm going to say is that if Sabrina ends up pregnant by this man, I'm going to laugh so hard because that's what you get for letting strangers inside your home that you don't even know what you slept with the man, and I hope it was protected, because if it wasn't, you're dumber than a box rat. But Danny starts changing the subject about her settlement and what she wants to do with the money, and Sabrina gave her some good advice, and she actually took it. Danny's like, I don't know what to do with the money. Danny, I definitely know what you can do with the money. You can buy a new car, get a bigger place, because that apartment you've been living in for the past 9 seasons is super small. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your bell notifications. Bye!